Actress Caitlin Dever. Dever! There we go. I knew I was getting it right. I literally spent the entire movie going, Dever, Dever. And I couldn't remember which one it was. Welcome. My God, this is the first time I've had a chance to watch this, so I'm kind of in like I want to talk about everything at once, which is part of the fun.
Before we get into it, sorry you had to listen to the poop story twice in a row.
It just means they can tell their friends now because they will remember it. I'm wondering, knowing the short film, and maybe some people here might know that, but you obviously have an interest in, in this sort of lifestyle. Is this something that you've had, a good deal of past history with in terms of working at a short-term care facility, or where does this interest come from for you?
I worked at a place like this. It was my first job out of college, and I worked there for about 2 years, and it was terrifying, and I felt like it felt like I was going to war every day, but mainly because I was so scared of doing something wrong that would mess these kids up more than they are already, and I just felt very unprepared for anything. But it ended up being one of the most impactful experiences of my life, and I felt like I grew up as a person more during those 2 years than everything else combined, and it was really great.
It shows. It really, really shows. And Caitlin, is this something? Did you go and it's really an incredible performance.
Thank you.
I'd buy every second of it. Yeah, absolutely. Is this something? Did you go and spend some time in a facility to get to know some girls and anything along that line? What was your research like for the role?
I didn't go to any facilities. I did read a lot of stuff online, which helped. I also talked to Destin a lot about it. And also, before we started shooting, the whole cast kind of got together and we all got to meet. And then we actually met up with another, counselor who works at one of these facilities. And he told us all these stories, and it was really moving, and it really taught me and got me really it just really got me into the character and what she would be like and everything. And then he taught us like restraints and stuff, and how like the fighting scene that I did, like where I shoved a cupcake and spit on people's face, like taught me how to I would act in that. And I really learned a lot from just hearing stories.
Yeah. The cupcake fighting. I got to get into that. That sounds awesome.
That was a lot of fun.
Questions out here? No, stunned into silence. All right. There's one. Someone. There you go. Go for it.
I just had a question about the affection that was shown. I was a little surprised. I think it's important and good, but I was just a little surprised to see that happening. And your experience in working in a facility like that, was that true to what you experienced?
The question, just to repeat it here, is about the affection that's shown in the film, and is that something which is I suppose common within the experience, or?
Yeah, it's definitely if there are any counselors here and you're seeing some of the things that the counselors in the movie are doing in terms of their intimacy with the kids, they're definitely crossing lines that probably shouldn't be crossed. But it did happen a lot, and it's not saying that it's professional or correct, but a lot of there's just emotions and connections that happen between certain staff members and kids that relationships are. I fell in love with some of the guys that I was with, and it, I definitely did have to keep a shield up between myself and them, but I got to the point with some of the kids that I would have, I felt like they were just like my brother, and I felt like I would do anything for them. So, but it also is a movie, so there's definitely they're crossing some boundaries.
Yeah. Go for it.
I have a simple question. How much time and how much fun did you have smashing that car up?
The question is, how much time and how much fun did you have smashing the car?
Well, that was a really late shoot, and I would love to say that I did smash that car because it would make me sound really tough. But I actually did not, because I wasn't allowed to.
What?
Because I'm a minor.
She
I know.
really wanted to.
I wanted
really
to so bad. But it looks good, right? It looks really good. The editor was really awesome.
Yeah.
It looks like me, so it was me. It was me.
Oh, no fun at all.
Yeah, I
37.
know.
What other questions?
I have a question.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So did you actually write the screenplay? I didn't see all I didn't see any review before coming here, so can you tell me a little bit of how much involvement you have in this movie, in making it? Did you write the screenplay?
Yeah, can you talk about the writing process for the screenplay?
Yeah, I wrote the screenplay. It was loosely based on a short film that I did in 2009 that was just a snippet of one day in a facility like this. Most of the characters were different. And yeah, I wrote it over the course of a year, and it was a pretty traditional script. But then the way that we decided to shoot the movie and the aesthetic that we're using is just one that we're trying to create an environment that allows everybody to breathe and be free, and specifically for the performances, where that's why we're shooting handheld in every scene, because we want to be able to allow the actors to move here if they want, or do something, go by their instincts, and we'd be able to just adjust for them. And that was also from the writing process. Once we had the script, I was also quite encouraging of them to not always use the words on the page. I didn't really care as long as it felt real.
Yeah. Other questions? Go ahead.
So I work in a facility in the city just like this, and something I noticed that was missing, and I'm wondering if you experienced in your job, was like secondary trauma for the counselors dealing with the suicide, etc., and restraints that last 2 hours rather than 30 seconds.
Right.
The question is about his experience with longer restraints and secondary trauma for the counselors.
I worked at a facility quite a while ago. My facility did not have any kind of therapy for the counselors, which I wish I had. I could have used it. Yeah. So I'm sure that exists at certain facilities within ours. Is that what you're talking about? Like that the counselors would have their own therapists to deal with the things that they're going through?
Kind of, yeah.
Well, we should just give them a camera and they can start making movies.
Yeah, it is very therapeutic to write something like this. But yeah, as far as I know, every facility is different. That's maybe one of the problems of the system, is that there isn't a blueprint of how each facility should be run. And so this is just a snapshot of my experience and some of the people that I interviewed.
Yeah, go ahead.
How long did it take you to shoot the movie and edit the movie? Did you have a decent budget for the movie?
The question is about the time to shoot and edit and budget.
Yeah, I'm used to making movies for $0, and so for me it was a very decent budget. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say exactly how much, but we can talk afterwards. But we shot for 20 days. Most people can figure out about roughly a budget from the time that you spend shooting it. And we shot for about 20 days, and most of it was shot on location at a facility that was shut down a few years ago.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now I'm curious why the facility was shut down, but second of all, what my main question was, thank you so much for making a film that kind of talks a lot about the issues that you portray in the film. Like, I thought my my eyes were really open to that, so thank you. And was wondering, are you going to, what kind of, do you plan on making other films like around the same kind of, issue, or seeing that it's been so influential in your life, or very curious about that.
Yeah, the questions about the facility that was closed, and then as well, is there a plan for short-term 13?
A lot of, thank goodness, a lot of the big facilities in California are beginning to close. I think it's a good thing. They're closing and breaking up into smaller, more like group homes that are just smaller and able to manage a little better, which I think is probably a better way to go. But there are still there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot that are functioning right now, and some of them do a really great job. Like the one that I used to work at, which now they have some pretty amazing programs. They have, the kids are doing like yoga every day, and there's just like all kinds of really cool people that are coming in to talk to them, and there's really good mentorship programs at that one. They're doing it really well. So there are a lot of really good things happening, but there's still a lot of things. I'm no expert in like the issues of this movie, but I'm wanting to learn as much as I can. Am I gonna do another movie? I think I'm probably done doing movies about this subject, but I'm always interested in just telling stories that I feel that move me. So who knows if that's gonna be next.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question for Caitlin. Caitlin, how did you find your way to this movie? And did you feel like you really kind of, when you were in the part, as your director said, that you could kind of like really grow into it, or like as things were going on? And can you tell us about any plans that you have for the future? Because I think you're very talented, and things are going to go far.
Thank you so much.
Questions for Caitlin here about how did she find this movie? How did you come to it? And then as well, kind of what's next for you, and about kind of the process of becoming the character.
Well, I found out about the movie. My agent just sent me the script, and I read it, and it was awesome. It was amazing, and I just thought the character that I was going to be going out for was just so amazing, and I could do a lot with it, and I really wanted to just become a different person. And just getting into the role was hard, because I'm nothing like her, and but I did do again a lot of research, and it was mainly just thinking about what that girl would be going through, and how awful it is, and how her dad doesn't pick her up on her birthday, and she freaks out about it, and it's